right, how heavy is this thing?
The SunGoldPower 5.12 kilowatt hour PowerWall battery. You know, it's a LiPo4 lithium battery, of course, and the model number is the SG48100M. And right now, this unit is going for $1,250. And I think they definitely have a sale going on right now. So if you want to hit that up this weekend, you know, Labor Day weekend, a lot of people got the sales going on. So I think it might be about 30% off. And I'm sure I have a discount code. I'll link that up below as well. And then, of course, it's going to have CAN communications, RS-45 communications. So it's going to work with your Lux Power batteries, your Snyders, your Victrons, you know, a lot of the major brands out there. So one of the things I like about this, and the reason I want to try out the PowerWall version, is because you can put these things up on the wall and they're just out of your way. I mean, look how close I can get to my wall still and be able to walk and move around. And you don't have a big stack of server racks that's going to come out, you know, this far. You know, I have to go all the way around like this. You know, definitely a clean setup. You get several of these things. You can put 4 of them right in a little space right here. Have another one here, another one below it, another one below it. And you'll have, you know, over 20 kilowatt hours of batteries on your wall, not even in your way. I definitely like the wall mount batteries for sure. And it came with your communication stuff. Let's go ahead and show you that. It came with some mounting hardware. You're mounting the brick and stuff like that. Came with your communication cables. Of course, it comes with a manual. So all the normal stuff that you're going to need. It came with the mounting plate that's on the back. That's how you mount it on the wall. Now, I did buy some lag bolts to put it up where I have it because I just have it going up through this hardy board and then into some wood. So, you know, I want to use lag bolts for that, not the bolts that came with it. That's really for more brick concrete, in my opinion. So that didn't come with the lag bolts. I did get the lag bolts, but it's been working with this EG4 inverter with the CAN communications, and it's working perfectly. CAN communications are awesome because you just plug it up, you set your dip switch on your inverter, and the thing just works. And it's pretty simple to set it on here. One dip switch is up, the rest of them are down, and bam, it's just working. So let's go ahead and jump into some testing. I'll go ahead and pull it out of the box. We'll go over the specs. I'll show it to you. We'll open it up, look at it, and then we'll test the thing out. Let's go ahead and try to pull this thing out. Go ahead and lower this table down so I can actually get to this battery. A little harder to lift up with the table up so high. Let's see, maybe I should take some of the foam out. Throw the foam out to the side here. All right, got all the connections on the bottom. Maybe I should sit it straight up on the top. Oh, it has some handles on the top. Nice. All right, you got some handles on the top. I don't see any on the bottom, so I guess it's not made for the 2-person lift. What I'm gonna do is just put the thing up on its side and try to get it out of this box. All right, it's got some handles on the side too. Not very big ones. That's for sure. Might be able to see right here. Got a little pop-out handle. Maybe I'll just do this off camera because I'm probably gonna look all crazy trying to pick this thing up. And move the box out of the way. Woo! A lot lighter than the lead acid. It's always better to have 2 people to move stuff like this around. Like a lot of the 100 amp hour lithium batteries today, you know, the 5.12 kilowatt hours of storage capacity. It comes with, you know, your LCD screen so you can see all your information. It's rated for up to 7,000 cycles, has a 10-year warranty, and it's designed for a 15-year life. And this unit is very flexible, so you can have like 32 of these units combined together to have like 163 kilowatt hours of battery capacity. So pretty much can go as large as you want your system to go and that you're gonna need, you know, for a residential type build that you're DIYing. This battery weighs about 108 pounds, just so you know how much it weighs. It is not light, it's not easy to move around, you know, but none of these lithium batteries are, but just so you know that up front. But anybody that has, you know, the indoor PowerWall or the outdoor PowerWall batteries, I mean, them things are like 300 pounds, so it's easier to move around than that, you know, but it's still a 100-pound battery that you probably should get help moving this thing around. You should try to move it around by yourself so you don't hurt yourself. And of course, this battery came with all these cables, you know, so you can be able to do, you know, have the quick connects on it, which we'll show you here in a minute, you know, and you can go to like a bus bar if you want to, or if you want to go straight to an inverter, you know, you can do that as well. You know, it has quick connects on both sides of this one. So it comes with a couple of different cables So you have a couple of different options of what you want to do. And of course, I already showed you the hardware. So it comes with a cable, the hardware. And now let's go ahead and bust this thing open and check it out. I'll go ahead and show you the outside first. So the battery is going to come with a couple of small handles on the side. So if you're right above it, picking it up off the ground, you can get your fingers in there to be able to pick it up. Of course, like I already showed you, it has the 2 handles right on the top. And on the back, you're going to come with your mounting plate. You can mount this to the wall and then hang the battery on it. So that'll come right on off, mount it to the wall. Just follow the manual and the instructions. And right on the front, it does have a push button, on, off button. Companies are trying to step up and add that to all their batteries. So you just have an easy way to turn the BMS on and off. Now, as you can see, you're going to have your specs right on the side. And then on the bottom, we'll go ahead and show you that. This is a 51.2 volt rated battery, 100 amp hours, 5,120 watt hours, rating 100 amp hours, charge and discharge, 57.6 max voltage and 43.2 volt discharge cutoff voltage. As you can see, you're going to have a reset switch on the bottom, a reset button. You're going to have running alarm, your battery state of charge. You're going to have CAN connections, your RS485. So you have all the different communications, and then you have the RS232. Then you're going to have a positive and a negative, a dual one, to hook your battery up, with your quick connects. So let's go ahead and get the drill and get this cover off to check out the inside. I think that's all the screws that have to come out. I think there's another screw right there. That's probably why it won't come up. Right here where this sticker's at, do not disassemble without permission. All right, makes a little more sense now. Should be a little easier to get this lid up. All right, I'll go ahead and just use my phone here. So I got to twist this thing all the way around. As you can see, this is what the inside looks like. Got all the cells. Looks like we got 2 wires on the negative, looking like, what is that, 8 AWG, got 2 of them off the negative. Then the positive side, like a 4 AWG. On the other side, a single wire on the positive. See what our connections at the bottom look like. We got some zip ties holding the wires on here. I'm not a fan of leaving this little zip tie here poking out like that myself, because they make you a tool that'll cut this off flush. They got a little bands holding it all on here. You got marks where everything was screwed down, I guess, when they torque it. So that's a good sign. You definitely get the gist of what this looks like on the inside and all your connections. So pretty clean. Doesn't look bad to me. Let's flip this bad boy over and get the plate off. And that's what your plate is going to look like. That you're going to mount on the wall. You got the little hooks on there. And the battery is just going to hang on. Just pick it up and hang it on there. All right. We took the PowerWall battery and basically we made a connection to the EG4 12K PV. We're going to go ahead and turn this bad boy on and see what it does. Of course, one of these batteries isn't going to be able to run this thing completely. It's just not going to be enough discharge power, but we still do some discharge tests to see what this thing will go up to and see if the ratings that it's rated for 100 amps are right. So I'll go ahead and show you the connections basically on the bottom. We got the positive and negative. Then I got the CAN connection for the battery communications, because this thing's supposed to have battery communications with the 12K since it's a Lux power. So let's go ahead and turn the power on and see what happens. Got the on off switch right here. Bam, powered up. As you can see, the 12K powering up. And we'll see if it has battery communication without having to do anything. Because CAN communications, as long as you have the dip switches right, and this is how I got the dip switches, that should be right. Got the first one basically up, all the rest of them down, and bam, as you can see, already putting out power, 146 watts. No problem. 89% state of charge. So all that is working. So the screen out here kind of looks like some of the EG4s and some of the other batteries, you know. Just a very basic menu on here. Basically, you go into the menu, you got analog, BMS, parameter settings, and system settings. Go to menu to get to that. And then when you get on analog, click on there, you can see your voltage, and you can see you got 6 amps coming out right now. Press escape and go back. Analog. Cell capacity, that's it. All right, so you go down to cell capacity. As you see, 88.58, 100 amp hours max. And, you know, right now, of course, 88.5 amp hours in the battery on the first cycle. So what I got hooked up outside, basically I got my car hooked up to my panel over here. So I'm gonna go turn the breaker on, and basically we're gonna see what happens. And we're gonna see how long it runs. I'm gonna get a meter first, put on this battery lead. As you see the max right now, 1.96. Go ahead and flip this breaker on to see what happens. It's probably gonna kick the battery out. The amps go up too high because of course it's rated for 100 amps. Overload. Got an alarm on here. Looks like it overloaded. I guess it was too fast for the meter, or actually the meter amps overloaded. Maybe the maximum amount of the amps on the meter. When I'll turn that back off, and let's see if the thing automatically restarts. I'm sure it's in overload mode right now. The status, let's go back. Go to BMS status, failure, and OCP, over current protection, yeah. So right now, over current protection, and we'll see if it goes back on its own and resets, or if I'm gonna have to restart it. You see right now, no amps coming out. Bam, it restarted on its own. That's what I'm talking about. So everything back in run, and the inverter's turning back on. So we're gonna have to try some smaller loads. And it's already kicking out power again. So no problem, except overloaded the current. And unfortunately, the meter, it overloaded, so it didn't tell us what it was. All right, so unfortunately, you know, that was too much power, which I already kind of knew. But I want to see if it will run for a few seconds or something and give me a reading. Basically, it overloaded right away. But basically, overloaded the meter, so not sure what it did. But it did reset on its own, so the BMS in this battery does work, you know, just like it should. When it overloaded, it turned itself off, waited a minute or so, turned itself back on, and then the inverter's working again. So that worked perfectly. Now let's try to pull out a little less power and see what happens. Basically got a solar generator here that I need to recharge. All right, right now I got about 10 amps coming out of the battery. Let's see what we got coming in over here. Got 374 watts coming to the solar generator. I'll go ahead and see if I can crank it up some more. See right now, got about 31 amps coming out of the battery, 32 amps. Not a problem at all for this battery. And that's about what it's reading right on the device itself. 31.56 amps. And this is the device we got charging. As you can see, got 1,500 watts going in. Rolling. All right, and on the inverter, as you can see, 1,578 watts coming out of the inverter going to loads. So part of that is all powers, and then I got something else plugged into. So far, so good with this thing. I definitely like the little on-off button on it. That's kind of like my Power Pro battery. Definitely like being able to look on the screen, and it's just normal screen. It has all the analog stuff, BMS status, and all that kind of stuff. And it has the communication with your inverter. So based on what kind of inverter you have, but you know, all the typical inverters that people have, it looks like it does communication with it. So the EG4 Lux powers, the CAN communication, bam, worked immediately, worked perfectly. As you can see, didn't have a problem with it. So that's great. See if we can put some other loads on here. See how much we want to get it to close to 100 amps coming out to make sure this battery meets that spec for the 100 amps. So let's go ahead and grab some little heaters and stuff and see what happens. All right, I hooked up a small shop vac. Let's see what kind of amps we're pulling now. I think I saw about 60. 61.4 amps. 61.4. And after that initial surge of about 61, it goes back down in the 40s. All right, probably not the safest thing to have on the inside, but hopefully this will get that rating up. I'm going to turn the vacuum on, and then I'm going to hit this, and we're going to see what we got. And I'll be sitting here looking at the amps when I do it, just to see what it goes to. And this is without that little shop vac on, so it's negative 31. So it's pulling 31 amps right now. 74.81 amps with this running. So with that, if this will run and the shop vac, that should be at least 100 amps. So that's 31 right now. 45 with the shop vac on. So it went up about 14. So it's going to be about 90 amps with that. But you got to remember, I got them plugged into the same breaker over here, so I don't know if it's going to keep running. So I only saw it go up to 72. So I'm probably going to have to get something else hooked up to do an even higher capacity test on this thing. But definitely this battery seems like it's working fine. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing on the wall. So the next clip I'll show you will be this thing up on the wall, so you'll be able to see the display a little easier, run some more tests and play around with it a little more. Basically, I put the mounting plate up here. I got the thing level. I got in 6 basically anchor lag bolts I put in, but it's going into the plywood, and I think one of them is going into one of the 2x4s. Definitely don't feel like that thing is going anywhere. It's definitely on the wall good. All right, as you can see, got the thing up on the wall. Got my older son to help me put it up here just because it's a little awkward. The handles on the side are very, very small, and if they were bigger, you could probably grab it and manhandle it and sit it up there, but you can barely even get as you can see, you can barely get the tip of your finger in there. I'd be dropping this thing on my foot. So basically what we did is grab it by the top handle and kind of the bottom, and just kind of just pushed it up, and with 2 people, a lot easier. But let's go ahead and get the cables connected to do some quick testing. And I got my EV charger, the adjustable one, so we'll be able to hook that thing up and try to ramp it up until we get this thing have 100 amps coming out of this bad boy like it's supposed to, and make sure it works. Now I didn't think about it, but now I got the CAN connection pretty far away. I don't think it's going to reach. I'm going to have to run it a different way. Run it up through the top of the inverter here. All right. It'll reach my jerry-rig it and come from the top. Bam. So for right now, let's leave my EG4 12K or Lux Power inverter. All right. Let's go ahead and hit this power button here. BMS is starting up. As you can see, the 12K starting up. All right. It's communicating. It's got it's showing 52%, and it's showing you 51.89% state of charge, and on the EG4 12K showing 52%. So it's communicating, it's showing the right thing. Now let's exit, and right now you can see what's coming in and out of the battery. So we got basically 6 amps coming out. I guess got 200 some watts, got some power going to something right now. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug that. Now we got 1.37 amps coming out, and that should just be what's running the inverter right now. So I'm gonna go outside and plug in my car and set the amps maybe 16 and see what we can get out of this thing. 81 amps coming out, 81 amps, not bad at all. But hopefully you can see that right there on the EG4, 3,877 watts coming out. I'm gonna go ahead and plug up this solar generator, get you up in here close so you can see the amps. And we'll see if we can get this thing to go over 100. All right, there you go. 81 amps coming out. Let's go ahead and plug this solar generator up and see what we get. All right, ramping up. 91 amps. 99 amps. 99.5. That's about perfect for what this battery is rated. 106 amps. We're over the rating. Let's see how long it runs. And it sounds like we tripped out. So I think it went way over 106 because I was looking at the watts coming in to the solar generator, and it went up from like 600 or 700 to like over 1,000. So definitely had it rolling. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and take the meter and get it hooked up. All right, looks like it's reset. The inverter is coming back on. So it should say, so now it's showing, it's pulling out negative 1.64 amps. And that's just basically power just the inverter that's starting up. And now what I'm gonna do again, this time I'm gonna start the solar generator before the car. I got the car breaker turned off. And so let's go ahead and get the solar generator plugged back in and see what the amps are on it all by itself. See what they go up to. That'll tell us what it went up to from just the solar generator hooked up. It's already up to 5. Now it's cranking up to 775 watts, 800, 900. Just hit 1,052. Of course, the thing's gonna turn off on me. And now it's kicked up all the way like it did before. So look, it's pulling 25, 26 amps, 30 amps. It's up to 1,450 watts going in, 1,482, 1,500 watts coming in today into the thing, the solar generator, 1,500 watts. So negative 32. So basically pulling 32 amps, 31 amps. So definitely over the rating with this 31. Let's see if we can crank it down a little bit. We go on the app. I'll crank it down a little bit, then I'll start the car so we can get it right at 100 to see how long we can run, or at least just a test to run for a little while to make sure it doesn't kick out. All right, I put it down in the standard mode. Let's see what kind of amps we're pulling now. Pulling 21 amps now, 21.34 amps, 21.5. So it might still be over 100, but just barely. So let's go ahead and start that car and see what happens. All right, we got the car charger just started. It'll probably take a moment for that to kick up. Basically, we got 1,000 watts going into the solar generator. And then we'll have maybe about 4,000 watts going into the car, or 3,800 or something like that. 98 amps. 104. So we're over the rating right now. So we'll see how long this thing will run. So right now, what time is it? It's, as you can see, 10:35 at night. Of course, it's late. I have to do testing when I can. I've been trying to do this testing and keep getting pulled into other directions, doing other projects. The screen won't stay on that long. So right at 104.63 amps, and it's still running. So it might not be over its rating to kick out because it's so close to what it's rated for. And of course, the battery is not fully charged right now. It's at 46% state of charge. So if it was a higher state of charge, the amps would probably be a little bit lower, you know, because it's based on the voltage. Still pulling out 104.94 amps. 1037. 1037, as you can see. Go ahead and go over here on the inverter. We got 4,905 watts going out to the system. We got it going to the solar generator and to my car. So basically, this thing is pulling out 5,000 watts without a problem, because you got about 100 or whatever running an inverter, and we got a little over 4,900 going out to our loads. So, you know, this thing to me has passed all the testing that I've done, you know, and it's done great. You know, of course, it kicked out, so the BMS worked, you know, when the amps went up really, really high, you know, so I had another, you know, 20 amps or whatever. So the thing would have been at 120 something amps, and that's definitely over the 100 amp. And that's definitely over the 100 amp rating. So the thing kicked out just like it should. I like it so far. You know, I definitely like how it has the on off button, you know, definitely like that it has the CAN communication. So this CAN communication right here with the SunGoldPower inverters and with several other inverters that I named at the beginning, the thing is working fine. All you did was plug it up, didn't have to do anything, and the thing's just working. I love CAN communication because all you do is set the dip switch, plug it up, and it just works immediately. Instant. You know, of course, still pull out 105.13 amps. I think it's working fine, and you can see the lights on the bottom of the unit. You know, it shows the state of charge, it shows it in run, and the on off. And of course, you got your quick connects here. I got everything connected. And then the CAN communication. You know, you got RS485 if you want to use that as well. RS232 to hook up to your computer. Guess if you want to do firmware updates and stuff. And as you can see, the dip switches right there. Got the first one all the way up and all the rest of them down. Then you want to hook your ground up. You got a ground right there as well. And I don't have all that hooked up since I just got it up here temporarily for testing. And we'll go over here to the EG4 and show you what's up with that. As you can see, 4,906 watts coming out. Like I said, working fine. Already down to 39% battery power, of course, because you got about 5,000 watts coming out. Actually got 5,078 coming out of the battery, as you can see right here on the EG4. 5,081 watts coming out of basically a 5,000 watt battery. It's 100 amp hours, so you know it's a little over that 5.12 or whatever. But man, that is pretty good. So the battery is not going to run long since we're only at 40-some% when I started. So what do you think about the SunGoldPower PowerWall lithium iron phosphate battery so far? You know, definitely looks like it has a good warranty. SunGold seems like they've been out for a little while because I've been seeing them for years. I've never got to deal with any of their stuff before, so I was glad to be able to team up with these guys to try to test out their battery. And of course, I've been doing a lot more tests because I am going to use this thing. You know, I'll have batteries in here mixed and matched of different stuff I'm testing out, and I'll leave it hooked up to be charging my car. So why not? You know, I'm working on my system with my EG4, building my ground mount and stuff like that. So I have a lot of videos coming out on all that stuff. So you'll be seeing this thing a lot more. If you're interested in this, remember, I always have it linked up below. And if you know of any testing that you want me to do specifically with this unit, hey, let me know that down in the comments below. And I'll definitely be able to try anything out that you want me to. And of course, I can always try different kinds of loads, which I will be doing when it's daytime and I can make a lot more noise because I'm not trying to wake up everybody, you know, that lives near me. And my crowd, a bunch of them's asleep too. So I got air compressors and stuff like that. I don't want to start it up right now, but this is just when I got the thing installed on the wall. And remember, if you like this kind of video, hey, think about hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and thanks for watching.